Welcome to Chasing a Murderer, guys. We are on part 152 of Life Beyond the Grave. The story about this very evil dual couple who believed the end of the world was approaching. They believed that the world was taken over by zombies. Who are those zombies today? Well, we had Charles Vallow. He is now gone. We have her daughter, Tylee Ryan, her son, J.J. Vallow, and her lover's wife, Tylee Daybell. Yes, we're talking about Lori Vallow and Chad Daybell, the Doomsday couple. If you're not familiar with this case or you haven't started this series, you might want to start back to part 1. It's a very long series, but it's necessary in order to understand just how dark Lori Vallow and Chad Daybell are. If you like my work, I would really appreciate the consideration of at least liking, subscribing, sharing, and commenting below your thoughts. I always like to read your comments. You guys have very interesting ideas of what happens in these cases, and I appreciate you guys sharing your thoughts with me. So where did we leave off? Well, we left off with the fact that Tylee Ryan has become very isolated. She's cut off from everyone she knows, everyone she cares about. Why is this happening? Well, we're not certain, but we can assume it's most likely because of her mother, Lori Vallow. For some reason, she doesn't want Tylee talking to anyone. Not her grandmother, not anyone whatsoever, and this includes Colby Ryan. This is Lori Vallow's oldest son. She leaves Colby Ryan behind with his wife and their new baby back in Arizona. But there's something that Colby doesn't notice during this time. He knew something was different, but he didn't really think it was a big deal at the time. He tries to reach out to Tylee, and it's very difficult for him to reach his sister. As a young family starting out, he was struggling sometimes with money, and so he would often ask his mother or his sister, Tylee Ryan, for a few dollars, for instance, for medication for the baby. It's no secret that Lori Vallow did not like Colby Ryan's wife. The two didn't seem to get along that great. Heads up on Chad Daybell and Lori Vallow's ranking system. Colby's wife is marked dark. She's not alone. Brandon Boudreaux's dark. And as time moves deeper into 2019, more and more people become marked as dark. They have cut communications with Lori Vallow's entire family. Chad Daybell has cut communications with his family along with his wife's family especially. You gotta remember, Chad Daybell was once pretty close with Tammy's sister's husband, which we'll go over more information on who these people are shortly. So there's several people trying to get in contact with Lori. One of those being Colby Ryan. Tylee's phone sends texts to her brother, well, throughout September. But those texts become less frequent by the month of October. Here's a bit of testimony from Colby Ryan at Chad Daybell's trial.
Were you aware if Tylee Ryan received Social Security benefits after Joe Ryan passed away?
Yes.
How did you learn that?
My mom told me that she would be receiving benefits.
And do you know if she received that monthly?
Yes.
Did you ever receive money from Tylee Ryan?
Yes.
How would that usually happen?
Venmo. She would Venmo me.
Would you ever ask her for some money?
I did, yes.
And about how often would that happen?
Maybe I could recall asking Tylee specifically a couple times. I would mostly ask my mom, and Tylee would be the middleman between those transactions. So I'd ask my mom, and she would tell Tylee to send the money.
Speaking of that, to your knowledge, did Lori Vallow ever send you money by sending it to Tylee, who would then Venmo it to you?
Yes.
And how did you know that?
I would ask my mom, and then she said, okay, Tylee will send it over to you.
Do you recall the last time you saw Tylee Ryan?
Yes.
When was that?
It's August 30th.
And where was that?
It was outside of my work, in the parking lot.
Is that in Arizona?
It was in Mesa, Arizona, outside of a gym.
And what was the nature of that visit?
My mom was very vague and said that they were leaving. She brought Tylee and JJ. And Tylee was crying and didn't say anything, really. And I hugged JJ. And my mom said that they'd be back in a few weeks to visit.
Did she tell you where she was going?
No.
Do you recall if you asked?
I did ask initially.
But she wouldn't tell you?
No.
Did you receive, or did you exchange text messages with Tylee Ryan on September 8th of 2019?
Yes.
What was the nature of that text exchange?
I think I had asked her to send money. And I think we had talked earlier that day a little bit. I didn't talk to her directly, but I had heard her voice, and they said that they were on a trip. And I think I'd asked her for money. I think that's what it was.
Okay. And did she respond? Do you recall?
Yes.
What did she respond?
I don't remember what she said exactly. I do remember. I remember her last text that she said was just, "I love you and I love the girls."
You heard her voice earlier that day. And how did you hear her voice?
She was in the background of my conversation with my mom.
And did your mom tell you where they were?
She said they're at Yellowstone Park.
Did you ever have a conversation with Lori Vallow after Charles's death about Tylee's Social Security money?
Yes.
What was the nature of that conversation?
So if I recall, she said that Tylee's money was not going to be everybody's money since she...
What was the nature of that conversation about Tylee's money?
Judge again, Foundation. Overall.
You can answer the question.
Yeah. The initial question I had is, how are you going to take care of Tylee and JJ now? And I knew that she wasn't going to be receiving the money, so she said, we're going to supplement some of Tylee's money for now. And I'm going to go work. That was what she said. And that was basically the nature, but she said, we're going to start using Tylee's money to make it through. And I think that I don't know if they were receiving anything for JJ, but that was the nature of the conversation.
Okay. So you don't recall if she mentioned JJ receiving Social Security?
I don't remember, but I know about it. I just don't remember if she said that.
Okay. And do you recall if she said anything about her receiving Social Security benefits after Charles died?
No.
The last time you saw Tylee, was that also the last time you saw JJ? And I think you said that was September or August 30th of 2019.
Yes.
So we learned that Tylee Ryan and JJ go on a family trip with Lori and her brother Alex Cox to Yellowstone. While Dad is jumping ahead a little bit for us here, remember that around this same time, September 5th, we learned that Lori had sent emails to JJ Vallow's school, so Life Academy. She insinuates that her life hasn't been all that great, it's not been easy, and that she has to do whatever she has to do for her children, while making it seem as if she has their best interest at heart. She's actually planning their death. Again, she likes to make herself look like someone that is a woman in distress. She's trying to move on with life. It's not been easy, but I have to do what I can for the kids. Thanks for everything, she says. We had learned last podcast that since Lori's arrival in Rexburg, She has not only been planning deaths for her own children, she's also having her good friend Zulema lie to Chad's wife Tammy. Why? So that the lovers can spend more time together, so Tammy doesn't become too suspicious or even suspicious at all. All of this was rotating around the fact that they were preparing and ushering in the second coming. We'll play part of Zulema's testimony speaking about the second coming.
Lori said that there were certain things that needed to happen before the second coming could happen, and there were certain things that she was instructed that she needed to do in order to usher the second coming, and one of them was that she needed to cleanse the earth from evil spirits. So every time that something would happen, will be something like another step ushering the second coming.
So was Charles's death, what she told you, part of the steps towards the second coming?
Yes.
Okay. And if you know, did Alex believe this?
I don't know.
Okay. Now, did at some point you have a conversation with her about her staying in Arizona or her moving?
She has said that she wanted to be in Arizona, but then Chad Daybell told her that she needed to move to Rexburg, and so she packed up her house and moved to Rexburg.
What was significant about Rexburg, Idaho?
Chad had said that Rexburg, Idaho was going to be a place of refuge where there was going to be invasions of other countries coming into the United States, and that Rexburg was going to be a place where there would be soldiers and warriors that would be defending that area, and that area had been prepared by the church to accommodate people to come towards that area to be as a place of safety.
And so did Lori move to Rexburg?
Yes.
Remember, they were teaching that this would be the New Jerusalem. Chad lived in Salem. Salem is a big connection, a piece to the puzzle that many people don't understand. This is something we will go over in the near future because it is important to the story and their teachings along with their beliefs. But you can tell that Zulema is 100% on board with these teachings, along with Melenie Gibb, Alex Cox, Lori Vallow, Chad Daybell. Aubrey seems to be following it pretty well until a certain point. And Chad Daybell is making changes. He's going to change his book writing styles. He's wanting to go a different direction. Chad Daybell has always supported the return of Jesus Christ and preparing for that moment. This includes building Zion and Jerusalem. But it's not going to include his wife Tammy and not so much his children anymore. Later on in the series, we will share a witness that will attest to that. Right now, I'm going to share or continue the testimony of Zulema and how she was there to support Chad and Lori, so much so that she's going to lie for Chad. Not very godly.
Once they were in Rexburg, did she repeat any concerns about Tylee being possessed by Hillary, the demon Hillary or the spirit Hillary?
No, Tylee was not there when I went there.
Okay. Did she say anything about JJ being attacked by demons when you were in Rexburg visiting?
Not that I recall.
Okay. What was JJ doing when you saw him in Rexburg?
He was playing outside with his toys and with his friends from the neighbors, the neighborhood kids, and then he came inside and asked for a popsicle, and then he went back outside, and then he came back inside to ask for a snack, and then he went back outside, and then I guess it was around, 7 o'clock, and then Lori brought him inside and started getting him ready for bed.
Okay. And while you were there, was Melanie Gibb there?
No.
Okay. And did Lori say anything about how it was caring for JJ now that Charles was gone?
She said she had hired I don't know whether it was a babysitter or a nanny that was helping her take care of him when she needed, and she also said that she had bought subscription to one of those bounce places so that he could she could take him there to be entertained.
So did she and then how did you see Chad at all while you were in Rexburg?
Yes.
Okay. Tell us about that. How did that happen? Let's start that way. How was it you were able to see Chad? Because at this time, Chad's wife, Tammy, was still alive, correct?
Correct.
And he was still living with Tammy, even though Lori's now in Rexburg. Right?
Yes, he asked me to lie for him and to send a text to him saying that I was speaking at a conference or at a presentation, and that I wanted him to come and see me speak.
And did you send that text?
I did.
Why did he have you do that? And you said lie for him. Why did he ask you to do that?
So that he could have an excuse to his wife to come over.
To Lori's?
Correct, to come over to Lori's apartment.
Okay. And did you do that?
Yes.
Okay. Did Chad come over?
Yes.
Okay. Did you talk to Chad at all during this time?
We did.
Okay. Was Lori there as well?
Yes.
Tell us about that conversation with Lori and Chad.
Lori and Chad were very aggressively trying to convince me to move to Rexburg. And we talked a lot about him saying that I needed to move to Rexburg.
Why did they want you to move to Rexburg?
They kept telling me that part of my mission was to be there and that I needed to help them build Zion there and that I just needed to move there.
Okay. Now, do you have a job?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have family in Arizona?
Yes.
Okay. What did Lori say about, how you would, if you gave up and quit your job, how were you supposed to support yourself?
I said that if I was to move to Rexburg, there's no jobs there for me from my experience or my past jobs or anything that would match me, and what would I do there for finances. And she said, don't worry about it. Mellie, meaning Melenie Boudreaux, she has enough for all of us.
Okay. Now, so at this time it was Melenie Boudreaux. That was her name, right?
At the time, correct, yes.
Okay. And so Melenie Boudreaux was her niece?
Yes.
And Melenie Boudreaux was in the process of divorcing her husband, Brandon?
Correct.
And she received a fairly substantial divorce settlement?
Correct.
Several $100,000?
Yes.
Okay. And so what did Lori tell you about Melanie supporting people? What exactly? I want to make sure we get the words right. What did she say?
She said, don't worry about it because Melly has enough for all of us.
Okay. What did you say to that?
I said, that's her money, not my money.
Okay. And did Lori have a response?
No.
Okay.
Not really.
All right. Did you ever talk to Melenie Boudreaux about the idea that her money was going to support all of you?
I told her about what Lori said after Alex had died, and she said that she was very sad that other people would be.
So it seemed Lori had more plans in order to make sure she had the finances she needed to get by. So she was using her niece as a way to obtain money. But Melly didn't seem to know about that yet. But then again, they also had planned on getting rid of Brandon Boudreaux and getting a hold of his life insurance. Did she know about that? Well, I think so. So Lori's broke. And the way that she looks at life is she's looking at everyone, their value to her. So many people often wondered, we know that Melenie Boudreaux is about to come up to Idaho. Why? Perhaps Lori was smooth talking her niece to live beside her, get things to try, and also to put some great finances beside her. Alex Cox quits his job, cashes in on everything, moves to these townhouses. Lori, divorce, already spent all of Charles' money, didn't get the life insurance. Melenie Boudreaux's planning a trip to see how she likes Rexburg, Idaho. Lori is smooching off of her own daughter's Social Security benefits, as well as her son's shortly. And then you have Chad Daybell planning the death of his wife, who also has life insurance. We never hear about Chad Daybell mentioning anything about using the finances of Melenie Boudreaux, Charles Vallow, Tylee Ryan. It seems that Lori's lining all these people up, and she's the one very interested in the life insurance monies. And this is something Chad is becoming aware of. Remember, Chad Daybell and Tammy didn't have money, and Chad believes that Lori Vallow is loaded.
Rexburg, Idaho?
Yes, early September.
And when you came to visit in September, was that September of 2019?